Hello and welcome back to the weekly Whopper Meltdown where I, T-Mac, review all the new maps all the time, playable on Mythical Gaming. That's Mythical Gaming. Link in the description. So this week, I have 7 maps to get through, so get comfortable because map number 1 is bhop underscore TBH3, created once again by TBH. And much like TBH's previous maps, this is a trolley map. And to preface this, I'll say that if you like maps that try to trick you over and over again and you get something out of that, then check it out first because all the bullshit is going to be spoiled. Right here, right now, the map starts off with a split in the road, the left path leading to a massive gap, which, if you even do manage to pass it, it will lead you to nothing but a wall, which is kind of irritating. So we take the right path, you'll come up to what looks like an airlift, but is actually a ladder. An incredibly long ladder. Once you reach the top, surprise, teleport. It leads to a room full of rings, where if you go through the rings, then you get sent back to the start of the map, and have to do the ladder again. Luckily, once you spawn in, you can just drop straight down to the last stage where there's actual rings that you have to go through, and if you fail them, you get set back only to the start of that stage, not back to the beginning of the map, which is good. No one wants to do that ladder again, trust me. So the map uses this tired gray color scheme, same as the other TBH maps, which is starting to come full circle back around to when I first saw it on bhop underscore TBH, and that's not a good thing. So, obviously this map was intentionally made to be bad, though it isn't quite shit tier. Once you get to know what to do, the map isn't terrible aside from the ladder, and there is some fun in the novelties of the map. It took me a little under 40 seconds to run, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 11. It's not quite cancer, but, you know, it's cancer. So, moving along to map number 2, bhop underscore setenemy, or setenemy, is a map that was created by Goose True Mapper. And this is Goose's second ever map, and jumping right into the textures, you'll notice that they're fairly bland, though not necessarily bad. In fact, the final stage starts out looking really nice with the graffitied wall and the way that the map is lit, though it quickly gets back around to that dimly lit, boring scenery lacking standard, I guess. Also, there's random dick shapes strewn throughout the map, and someone forgot to close off the wall at the start entirely. Those don't really have any effect on the review, but I figured they'd be worth mentioning. Getting into the block layout, the first stage is very simple and fairly unnecessary towards the end with regards to how many blocks were added. I wasn't really a fan of that, though the second stage was probably my favorite stage. It has so much going on, and the path is fun and wide open, and really allows you to test out all sorts of different routes. The overall layout is great, and the booster at the end allows for a neat little skip. But I don't like that there's a trigger that sets you back when you try and do something, i.e. drop down, that looks very doable. I think that a tunnel could have been used to be bhopped through to make hitting the skip much more challenging, or even impossible for that matter, and would have achieved the same result, except in a way that doesn't affect somebody on their first run just to test out what the hell's going on. Anyways, as for the last stage, much like the textures, the block layout starts off interesting with tilted blocks that make precision important and maintaining speed challenging, though in a good way, and it slowly builds back into those standard blocks, which is a little bit disappointing, but the map has some really memorable parts that were very fun, and some that weren't the best. The tellies were easy to hit, and the second one was defined, and overall I found this map to be moderately fun, which is why it gets a 7 out of 11. So good job, Goose, and onwards to map number 3, which is called bhop underscore pahin, P-A-H-I-N, and was created by Flashy AF. Texture and color scheme wise, this map is pretty good, though I think that if the green floor were a few shades brighter, it would have made everything else pop a little bit better. The map has this really cool, spacey mini-golf theme to it, which is great. And even though the ceiling is solely black, I think that it works well enough with the rest of the map, though it definitely has the potential to be cooler if there were like some glowy blues and greens and yellows playing off the black to sort of add to that glow-in-the-dark mini-golf theme. That said, most people here are interested in the way that the map plays, not the way it looks. So on that note, the layout is really good. allowing for multiple routes to be taken and a lot of different small optimizations that can be utilized. I especially like how the map is designed with beams and platforms that transcend the simple, spaced-out block structures commonplace in most first-timers maps. Oh, and by the way, yeah, this is Flashy's first map, so kudos to you for taking the plunge. That having been taken into consideration, this map has one glaring issue for me, and that is the skip. Now, normally, I'm fine with skips, but this map's skip is very easy to hit and cuts out a lot of the most interesting parts of the map. If there were a visible wall or something to prevent the skip, or even if the map was just a little bit longer after hitting this big skip, then I think it would definitely have been less of an issue for me overall. In fact, it probably would have not been an issue for me. But with the skip, the map took me about 18 seconds to hit, and Rez has a run where he hit 15 seconds and something, so props to him. That was a nice run. Check it out if you like. And nice job to Flashy for making a good first map. This one's going to go ahead and get an 8 out of 11. So onwards to map number 4, bhop _ invld is a map that is created by Comeback. And it was a map that I could not complete because of a weird glitchy thing that happens on the last stage. Or at least I couldn't complete the map until the most recent update, which now allows me to actually finish the end of the map. So not sure how or why that happened, but I'm going to redo the review for next week. It will be the first map in the rotation since I don't exactly have enough time to complete a new review and rescript everything and get it in. Which means that it's time for map 5. bhop _ lade, Lade, is Snooper's first map, and is texture-wise a little bit interesting, going with a concrete building type theme, except it's not a building. But I do like the way that the first floor looks, though the top floor is a bit too blue and boring for my taste. Same goes with the last two stages, actually. I'd like to clarify that the color scheme isn't bad per se, it just feels a touch too minimalistic. Adding some physical scenery or putting in some graffiti on the walls or something would likely help to give some more visual complexity to the map. So, getting into the gameplay, it starts out with a simple KZ bhop and then instantly gets confusing from there. There's a hole to go down which brings you to a dead-end room that'll trigger you back to the start if you go far enough. So you're not supposed to go down there, you're supposed to go through the teleport, which is weirdly shaped, and it's a 180-degree telly. That is actually surprisingly easy to hit once you know what to aim for and when to turn. And there's a speed boost up to a surf, which is cool, as well as a simple final level. I like the way that the map is set up in the sense that it's very structurally unique, and the ending surf can kind of make this map feel really fun and satisfying to run, especially when you hit the nice ending. Though it's certainly a bit on the short side, taking me a little under 12 seconds to complete. All that said, I think that this one is decent, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7 out of 11, so good job to Snooper. And the next map to come out this week was bhop _ office, which was created by _chef. This was Chef's first map, and it kind of shows in terms of how the map looks. Based off of the first two stages, the color scheme is very bad, and the lighting is noticeably patchy. On the third stage, however, there's a surprise space theme that kind of comes out of nowhere, which is pretty cool. I like the skybox and the way that the light and shadows hit the blocks and kind of light them up in an interesting way. It's pretty cool. As for the gameplay, the map is set up in a straight line with a few weaves thrown in here and there. The map sticks to standard square blocks the whole way through, though the sizes do vary, and I'll give them some props for that. The only real obstacle on the map is a simple, old-style go-around-the-rectangular wall type, and that's kind of boring. As for the last stage, it's a little more unique as it implements some slight amounts of lower gravity, which is a bit interesting. All in all, this was a simple first-timer map that shows a willingness to learn and test out some newer things. It was about 17.5 seconds long for me, and I'm probably going to go ahead and give this one a 5 out of 11. So, good job to Chef, and good luck in the next one, which was actually also Chef's map. So, bhop _ broken dock has a color scheme and textures that are a bit of an improvement on the last one. The blue skybox meshes nicely with the different browns and beiges, and the broken boards and crates really fit nicely into the broken dock theme, and give the map a sense of purpose. The block layout is great and allows for plenty of optimization. My biggest issue with the map, though, would have to be the fact that the map is very short, taking me just a little over 16 seconds to complete, and props to Dango who found a route for under 15 and a half seconds. Also, there is a distinct lack of scenery, making it a fairly forgettable map. But at this point I'm just nitpicking, and it was a decent map, so good job for keeping it simple, and it was fun to run. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 11, so good job to Chef. And good job to everyone, because that was the final map, and share this video if you like, comment and subscribe, and for more, you can check me out on Twitter at TMacDagoon, or at my podcast/gaming channel that I play other games on, which is TMac's Dungeon Games. And also, there is still time to submit runs if you want to be featured on the first bhop Talk podcast, which should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So do that by following the information deeper into the depths of this video's description. And hey, if you like me so much, why don't you send me some cash via my donation, link in the description as well. But that's all the time that I have for this week's episode, so peace the fuck out.